Oh, I love it. All this curl and body. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Summer. Today I'm going to be showing you all how I achieve my curls or waves while maintaining volume and fullness, so keep watching. So today I'm going to be using T3's barrel iron from their Twirl Trio, along with incorporating some waves with their wave wand. I like to combine the two because I find that the traditional barrel, you can move through each section faster, but I find that the wand gives you a little bit more volume at your root, and it just gives a little added texture to the hair, so I like to combine the two. Honestly, my favorite is just using the wand, but I do find it to be more time consuming than your standard barrel, so that's why I opt to just work it in these days over doing my whole head, if that makes sense. So let's go ahead and get started with sectioning. I do want to know, I did wash my hair this morning. I used Moroccan Oil's Volume Shampoo and Conditioner, and I styled using their Root Boost and Volumizing Mousse just to give me some added fullness. So I will link all of those below to where you can purchase. All right, so the T3 ranges from 260 degrees Fahrenheit to 410 degrees. I usually use it on the level 3, so somewhere right in the middle. I don't like to ever go all the way up to 410. I just have too fine of hair for that. So what I like to do first is start in my back. So I just literally let that bottom fall out and clip it up. And then I always like to spray with a heat protectant on my hair before each pass with the barrel iron. This is Moroccan Oil's Protect. I will link that in my description below too. So once I've sprayed that, I just kind of comb my hair, and I'll take my first section. I always start with my outer corners, and then I always roll back away from my face. And then I normally count anywhere between like 10 to 15 seconds. The nice thing about this iron is you don't have to leave it on there a really long time, so it definitely curls very well on your first pass. And then my middle section, I just kind of curl back to. Usually in the back, I just curl everything back away from my face. Once I get further up, I'll kind of show you guys how I interchange and change the direction, so there's a little bit more texture, but in the back, I don't worry about that as much. And then again, on this outer corner, I just roll back away from my face. Even as I move up my head, I always roll the pieces along my hairline and around my face, going away from my face. I don't like the look of it coming towards. That's just me. So after I'm done curling each section, I'll then take a hairspray. I love Moroccan Oil Strong Hairspray. It's always my favorite. I always go back to this, and I will just spray a little bit of a coat on each section as I move up. If you're wanting extra holds, you can spray the hairspray before you use your iron as well, just to kind of help you get a little bit better of a hold, especially if you have really fine hair that doesn't tend to hold a curl as well. Hairspray before and after each section. So now that I've taken my next section here, I'm just gonna pull the hair up, get my comb, let it rest there, and then I'm just gonna spray with that heat protectant spray. And then I'm actually gonna do a little hairspray as well. And then I just kind of use my fingers to part in the middle. Like I said, in the back, I don't worry about a pattern quite as much. And I like to leave just a little bit of my ends out. I don't like to fully wrap it all the way around. I like just a little bit of ends left out just for some added texture there. And then I'm just gonna pull, twist, and let that out. And then I'm splitting this into a separate spot. I like my curls to be a little tighter at first, just because I do have stick straight finer hair. I find that if I do too big of sections, I feel like my curl falls too loose right away. I like a little bit tighter of a hold. That gives me a little bit more volume and body. I know a lot of girls right now love like the very loose waved look, and it is pretty, but I just find on finer hair types, I don't feel like it holds the same. come along to to this other back side, still going back away from my face. I keep saying that, but I just find it to be the easiest way to get through my back and the quickest time frame. And then I like to just kind of lightly move the iron up and down while it's in there, just creating enough bend here at the top. And then again, I kind of pull down, twist, and pull it straight out. I'm actually gonna recurl this one just one more time. I feel like it flattened out actually too much. The only problem I have with the pulling and twisting, it can be great, but sometimes if you overdo it, it flattens out that curl a little bit more. So just go really light on the pulling and twisting when letting out each section, or you don't even have to necessarily pull and twist. You can also just opt to let it out and it'll hold a little bit more curl. And then we're just gonna spray that again and move on up. So again, most important thing with curling your hair, before you use your iron, you wanna get your hair pulled up and spray that heat protectant spray just to give you a little extra layer of protection. And then if you're wanting a little extra hold, do a light amount of hairspray too. What I love so much about Moroccan Oil's heat protectant spray is that it is an aerosol can, so it doesn't come out wet or sticky. It's very light. And then obviously their hairspray, if you've ever watched my channel, you know how much I love their hairspray. So when I get to this area and here, I'll sometimes then change the direction of my curls. So instead of coming in and going away from my face with the clamp on top, I'll flip my iron and the clamp's gonna be on the bottom, and then I'm gonna turn it towards my face. So this is where you're gonna start seeing a little bit more texture built up in your look and get a little bit more movement that way. And then I'm gonna go back to curling it away from my face to keep the patterns kind of mixed up. I don't like to ever do like two going towards my face back to back in a row. I prefer the look of it going back, but I will switch it up here and there to just have a little bit of texture. And then again, I still like to kind of rotate my barrel here and there just to keep a little extra bend at the root. So this is where I feel like the barrel irons lack for like my opinion. I feel like they give more body throughout the ends maybe over a wand, but I feel like you don't get quite as much lift at the root. Pull down, twist, and then lightly pull out. And then I immediately will spray my front pieces. I don't like my front pieces quite as curled, so I'll pull a little tighter on that area, and then I'll spray just a little bit more before moving on to the rest of this back section. Okay, and so because I did this first back piece going towards my face, this next one I'm gonna do away from my face. So now because that back corner piece I did away from my face, I am gonna do this next one going towards my face. So again, the clamp is gonna be, instead of where you see it on the top, on the outside, you're gonna flip it and it's gonna be on the underside and then roll towards your face. Okay. And then I'm gonna split this section here in half, again, because I like a little bit more body and movement. Like I said earlier, I find too big of a section on finer straight hair, when you're wanting that fullness, you're not gonna get as much of it if you're doing too big of sections. We're gonna move up closer to the top. Okay, so I'm gonna spray my section again with that heat protectant spray. And then I wanna show you guys to more so a little bit closer shot, hopefully, because I leave a little bit of my ends left out. Because while I like more fullness and body, I still like a soft end. So I don't leave out as much as like some other people do it. I'll see some girls, they just more so curl this middle section. So I have just a little bit of hair left out, and I like to bring it up as high as possible at my root to just try to create a little extra bend there in the hair for some more body. So after that's set in, I'll give it a couple more seconds. So what I'm gonna do to let this out, I'm gonna rotate the iron just slightly back. So there's a little bit of looseness here. I'm gonna pull down while twisting and then lightly open up the clamp here and just slide out that end piece. So it creates a nice amount of curl here, but this end is still a little bit smoother and straight rather than curled all the way through. And then you can even spray each section you let out as you go. You don't necessarily have to wait till it's all done. Just so sometimes it gives a little bit extra hold there, spraying immediately after. You don't want to douse it, just enough to kind of coat it. So I'm going to do the same thing. I like to bring that barrel all the way up to my scalp as close as possible, leaving out just a little bit of hair at the end, lightly rotating it. And then we're gonna rotate that barrel back, make it loose. You're gonna come out, twist, and then lightly open that clamp and pull through. And then I'm just gonna repeat on this other side and then do my back. And then I still like to remember every so often to rotate that iron for that added texture to keep going through. All right, and then we're gonna come out, twist, and then lightly open that clamp and pull through. Okay, now I'm moving to the back, so I'm gonna recoat my back piece here with just a little hairspray. So this is one thing you can do to add a little bit of extra volume and height. As I get closer to my crown area, I'll often do a little bit of teasing. I'm gonna take that out because that's my extension. So I usually just take the fine end of my comb here. I'm just gonna do about 5 little teases. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I like to just do a little dab of hairspray on that as well. I'm gonna split this piece in half and curl. The reason why I sometimes will suggest teasing beforehand is because to get in and tease afterwards, sometimes you'll end up pulling the curl a little bit. It's okay to do it. It doesn't always pull out the curl, but if you're somebody who struggles with your hair holding the curl and the curls lasting, go ahead and do a little bit of teasing prior to curling each section, and you'll probably be able to maintain a little bit more volume that way. Okay, so now that I'm moving on to my top piece, sometimes with a side part, mine's not so severely side, but sometimes I'll split this in half. I'm not going to today just because I am gonna use the wand. And when I use the wand, it's mostly on my top area. So I'm gonna just comb through here, spray on my heat protectant first, and then do a little shot of hairspray. do the same over here. All right, so because I didn't split this section, what I end up tending to do is just do a little bit smaller pieces to break it up. You can certainly split it if you want, and sometimes I end up doing that. It just kind of depends on my mood. So what I end up doing is what I'm doing now. I grab a section and then I just split that section in half rather than breaking up the whole piece. I don't know which way is easier, but. And then I try to get nice and close at that root, curl back away from my face. And then sometimes on my top layer, I'll pull more hair into the barrel and not leave quite as much out. I just like a little extra spring on my top layer. So I feel like that's why I end up doing that. And then I'll kind of even bend the iron up and down, or well, like back and forth, I should say. And then I'm gonna just lightly let up on that and let it out. And then I'm gonna rotate. This one's still away from my face. And then my next one, I'll go towards. Split that in half. This top one, I'm gonna do back away from my face and just bring it straight up. Try to get that barrel nice and close to my root. And pull it out. And this under one, we're gonna go towards my face. So again, the clamp side is gonna be on the underside of your hair and you're gonna roll towards your face. And I've taken a little bit smaller of a section, so I'm not gonna split it in half. And everything from this point on moving forward, I'm gonna just roll away from my face. And then again, just a little bit of hair left out at the base of the clamp. And then again, to pull and twist that out, you're gonna roll back that barrel, bring it down while rolling back, twist, and lightly pull. Here I'm just gonna split in half rather than try to do it more of a horizontal one. I'm just gonna go up, down it, away from my face. Again, twist back. So as you are twisting back, you wanna also pull while twisting. It takes a minute to get used to this step. Best way to practice is with your curling iron off, to just work it in your hands to get used to the movement rather than trying to do it when it's on like 300 something degrees. You don't wanna have it in there repeating it and then keeping it on that section longer than it needs to. I'm just gonna curl this one more time. So again, you want to remember not too big of sections if you're looking for more fullness and volume in your curl. That's what kind of keeps it a little bit tighter of a look, which is going to help with a lot of that movement and texture and body and bounce. The bigger the section, the smoother and flatter kind of the curl is going to be. And I just always found in my personal experience, if I do the curls too big, I don't get as much longevity out of them. Come in, take my next piece. I'm gonna split this one in half. This bottom one I'm gonna do towards my face to just keep a little extra texture going, and then from here on out, everything will be going away from my face for the remaining section here. One thing I want to note, because I do have some tape ends, I put some back in earlier today just for some added thickness. If you do have any sort of tape ends, extensions, fusion tape ends, or even hand tied, you don't want to get the barrel of either your curling iron or flat iron directly on where the bond or tape is or your weft. So always avoid that. Okay, so now that I've curled my hair everywhere with the 1-inch traditional barrel, I'm gonna go ahead and swap out the barrels and switch over to the wand. That's what I love about this iron. You can get as many different sizes and they all fit the handle. It just has this little lock unlock system. It's that easy to swap it out. Okay, so we're just gonna twist there, take a towel, pull that out, and then we're just gonna put the wand back on and lock back into place. So we'll let that heat up now. When you do switch off the top, I think it automatically shuts off on its own, but it would have to heat anyways. What's nice too about the heating up the wand is your other hair kind of gets to set and cool off a little bit. I don't ever like to finger through my hair until my curls have lightly cooled down, so it just kind of helps maintain the curl and the body more that way. So the wand, I don't really have a method to my madness with it. I'll just take random pieces. So like this one in front of my face, I'll just split it in half and take my wand and just wrap. And then I just like hold with my hand. You can use a glove with this. I'm just used to burning my fingertips here and there sometimes. It's not a big deal anymore. And then again, I will rotate at the top here, same way I do with the barrel. And then I'll just pull it out. And it just gives a little bit more bouncy, more volume of a curl. I like the texture it gives. Like I said, I really prefer actually to wand my whole hair. It takes a lot longer than your standard barrel iron. So I just don't want to put the time in, honestly. So this is a way I get a little bit of that look without having to do all the time of a wand. And it just adds a little bit more texture to the hair as well. And then I really just honestly take random pieces. If I grab a piece that I curled going forward, I'll do the same with the wand. I don't try to change the direction of the curl. You don't have to leave it on quite as long because it's already curled, it's already taken the shape. You're just kind of switching it up a little bit. But to do it, I always just bring my iron up, go down, and then literally just wrap. And then leave out that end piece. Sometimes I will kind of try to twist, pull it down, but I usually will just leave it out and then sometimes lightly just bend it so it doesn't have, the wand doesn't really ever give any kink marks, I find, but you can also move it up and down like I am now so it kind of creates that bend everywhere. What I like about the wand is I feel like it creates more volume at the root. I feel like sometimes a barrel creates more volume throughout the end. So that's why it's also nice to compare them because you get a little bit of both. I just feel like you get a little bit tighter of a lift at your root with the wand. And when I do this, I never will resection my hair at all because I don't want to cause any kinks with my clip at all. I just kind of randomly take pieces and go at it. And then in the back, I'll do the same thing. I try to just split a section in half. And again, it's just random pieces I grab. There's really no method or rhyme to my reason, whichever the saying is. I just kind of randomly do it to create that texture. And remember, you can just slide the iron up and down or back and forth to just kind of create some movement there and bend throughout, like your root and the ends, to keep it all even. I don't spend quite as much time in the back doing it, just because, if I'm being honest, I kind of don't tend to care as much about what the back looks like. I know that's what a lot of other people see, but I see the front, so I tend to focus a little bit more on my front. All right, and then we're gonna do one last spray. And before I run my hands through it, I'm just gonna let those pieces cool down for a little bit before I move on. Okay, so now that my curls have cooled down, what I like to do, I'm gonna show you two things I do. One is like the main day that I curl my hair, and what I also do on my day 2. I just like to finger it out with my hand, so I literally will just kind of fluff. I don't touch too much, literally just to loosen it. Because the thing with finer, stick straight hair, it'll loosen on its own. You don't have to put a lot of effort in. Sometimes I'll flip my head upside down as well. And then where we teased in that back area, I just kind of lightly comb over it. I mean, I obviously will double check before I go and leave the house, but I just lightly smooth out the hair a little bit. And then, because I have some tape-ins now, a little higher up than they should be, I gotta tease just a little bit. Okay, so now that I have kind of just fingered through it, I will respray again with the hairspray. I kind of do somewhat of a heavy coat. I'm a little heavy-handed with hairspray, but I'm gonna wait to do that till the end, just because I am gonna put the products in that I do more so on day 2, just so you guys can see for your day 2 purpose. Okay, so now that I have shown you guys how I just finger through it, what I typically will do on my day 2, if I feel like I need an added boost of volume at my root, you can even do this on day 1 if you want to kick it up. It's just, this has a little bit of a product feel, but I use AG's Dry Lift Paste. This is a volumizing paste. It's great on the second day, like I said, because it does have a product feel, but it also just really kicks up any oil that you might get. So I literally just take just a little bit on my thumbnail, nothing crazy, and just a smidge more. And I just work it in my fingers, and then I will flip my head upside down. More so just focus it on my roots, but it just adds a little bit of extra texture to it and that body. So I normally will add more on my ends, but because it is my day 1, I'm not really going to, but you can just kind of keep fingering through to your ends with it. And you can also add in a little bit of oil if you want to. I love the Olaplex oil. It's always my go-to. Very light, never super heavy. And then I'm gonna do one good final spray. Hairspray is key. And then we have our finished look. Love it. So much body, so much movement. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please ask in the comments below. I will be more than happy to help answer any that you might have. Key tips, if you want extra texture, go ahead, switch out those irons. You can use your wand and your standard barrel to kind of give both 2 different looks. Make sure you're rotating your curl patterns to alternate between going forward your face and going away from your face. Always just remember to keep kind of bending that iron around just to give you extra lift at the root, and tease before you are done with your styling. It just makes it easier and you don't have to work so hard through your nice new curls that you've done. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week.